Hey, when you think of England and you think of literature, perhaps British fantasy comes to mind. In fact, England is famous for being home to some of the greatest fantasists in literature history. We're talking about J.R.R. Tolkien, Lord Dunsany, C.S. Lewis, E.R. Edison, and many others. So what happens when contemporary politicians decide that they'll enter the fantastical world of thinking that they can pass little statutes that will stop guns from getting into the hands of people or stop knives from getting into the hands of people? Well, an amazing thing has happened. We're seeing not only violent crime increase in places like London, but we're seeing the fact that parents are responding to this in one of the most sad and troubling ways. They're actually buying vests that are knife-proof for their kids. Hello, fellow Anglophiles. It is me, Gardner Goldsmith, here with you at MRC-TV, giving you this information which is sad, it's absurd, and it's educational, unfortunately. It comes to us via Shelwyn Duke and the New American. And Mr. Duke reports that despite the fact that London Mayor Sadiq Kahn in the spring passed his world-famous knife ban, knife violence is so high in the city of London that parents are resorting to, get this, buying knife-proof vests for their kids.
Some youngsters as young as 11 are so frightened about joining that statistic that they are wearing stab-proof vests to school. So it got us thinking when we heard about this. We're all mums. Would you take that preventative measure? Would you send your child to school in a stab-proof vest?
Seriously, this is a city that in World War II saw kids racing out after the Blitz to collect usable metal. They were called the Dead Enders. This is a city that in the 1970s, during one of the worst economic downturns in British history, saw teenagers go and squat in vacant buildings to form bands that became formative, seminal in rock history. They took chances and formed bands like The Clash, Killing Joke, and Motorhead. These are tough people, and yet the violent crime rate is so bad in London that parents are actually buying armor for their kids. It is amazing. In fact, there's a new business that's just started up called Blade Runner, and they're offering, get this, knife-proof hoodies and gloves to block knives. Amazing to think about this. How bad is the violent crime in London? Well, knife-related offenses rose 21% in 2017 over the previous year across all of England and Wales, and London was the location that saw the bulk of that. In fact, we have to keep in mind that those are just offenses. When we look at violent crime, it's even worse. As Matthew Weaver wrote for The Guardian, as the homicide rate for London temporarily surpassed New York this past spring, attention was drawn to the knife crime problem, and he said, quote, "A third of knife and gun crime for all of England was recorded in London." Separate figures released by the Metropolitan Police for the year ending April 2017 showed 157 homicides, an increase of 44%. Hey, great work, Mayor Kahn. You know, in the tradition of great British fantasists, you've been operating in this fantasy world so long that evidently you're not realizing the fact that parents are actually taking things into their own hands to try to protect their kids. In the meantime, Mayor Kahn, you're so busy trying to police billboards that might offend people's body images, or going after people like Tommy Robinson simply for standing in front of a courthouse and reading off the internet information that was already available about what was happening in the courtroom about rape gangs. You're so busy going after people like that you think, evidently, your wonderful knife ban is the answer to knife violence? Well, clearly the parents don't think so, Sadiq, and they're trying to take some actions. Maybe it's time to get out of the pages of your fantasy books and realize something. Realize that your ban on guns, your ban on knives will not work. And in fact, prohibition won't work. In fact, as statistics show, you might want to encourage people to arm themselves and stop utilizing police resources to go after such frivolous things as posters and people's offended feelings. Stop going after free speech in the form of Tommy Robinson. Maybe, just maybe, you could reset your priorities, Mayor Kahn. It's too bad somebody didn't write a book about that. Maybe you would have read it. Hey, listen, thank you so much for watching, fellow Anglophiles, fellow believers in freedom and individual liberty and peace. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to hit that little bell, because that will indicate to you when new videos pop up. We're producing a lot of material at MRC-TV, and we always appreciate it when you view and spread the word about us. For MRC-TV, I'm Gardner Goldsmith.